pleasant afternoon to everyone, and welcome to the Grades 234 Parents Orientation for School Year 2021 to 2022. I am Ms. Joanne Moreno, a Grade 3 reading teacher, and I will be the moderator for today. To begin the orientation, please watch this video of our school president, Father Aris Ogilvy of the Society of Jesus.
Good day to all of you. Aren't you glad that at Xavier School we're still able to go back to our June to March school year? We've had a very hot summer, but thankfully we were able to end our classes last March and have a real summer break. Now we are just a few days away from school opening for school year 2021 to 2022. This year, as we know, we are observing so many anniversaries. First of all, the entire country is marking 500 years since 1521, the arrival of Christianity in the Philippines with the celebration of that first Mass in the Visayas. So it is an opportunity for us to reflect on the legacy of Spain in our country, including the legacy of our Christian faith, and how we might share that with others. And that is why the theme that we are given in the church is Gifted to Give, a very important milestone for our country. At the same time, there are other anniversaries that we are marking. Our own Xavier School is marking 65 years. We were founded in 1956 in Quiapo, in Echage. We stayed there a few years and then we moved to San Juan in 1960, actually the Christmas of 1959, and we have been here ever since. Our campus in New Valley opened in 2012, and this is now year 10 of operations at Xavier School, New Valley. So again, a time for thanksgiving for all the blessings we have received in the past and an occasion to reflect on what we might contribute to the wider community as we mark these anniversaries. And if you think that's it, there's more coming. This year is also an Ignatian year. For the Worldwide Society of Jesus, 2021 is very important because it is also the 500th anniversary of the Cannonball Movement in the life of our founder, St. Ignatius Loyola. Isn't it interesting that the same year, 1521, when Christianity first made its appearance in the Philippines, is also the year when St. Ignatius was injured very violently by that cannonball, and it led to his conversion. So, the Worldwide Society of Jesus is marking this big anniversary through reflection on the conversion experience of St. Ignatius. So for this Ignatian year, there has been a logo developed for the Worldwide Society of Jesus. It's simple, it's the name of Ignatius, but with the S stylized to show 500 years. And in the Chinese province of the Jesuits, they have a variation of this, adding the words 纪念以纳节. 以纳节 is Ignatius transliterated. 皈依500周年, 皈依 meaning conversion or to take refuge, 500 years. The moment being marked in this big Ignatian anniversary is the cannonball moment in the life of St. Ignatius. If you look at this picture, you might get an idea of how painful it was for a cannonball to strike his bare leg. And then because he was still very vain, how many times it had to be operated on without anesthesia because he wanted it to be perfect. He didn't want to be limping for the rest of his life. But that was because the conversion had not yet fully taken place. He retired to his home, the Castle of Loyola, and he convalesced there for about 9 months. Nothing to do in his room but heal. And there was nothing else to read but the life of Christ and the lives of the saints. And that is when it starts to happen. From being a military soldier, he wanted now to become a soldier for Christ. If St. Francis could do it, if St. Dominic could do it, he could do it too. So that's when the conversion happens. In a way, it begins with a life-changing moment, the cannonball, but it shifts to his internal life after that. And then he devotes himself to following Jesus Christ. So he was able to see his life and the whole world in a new light, in a different way. And that is why the theme of this Ignatian year is to see all things new in Christ. We are living in the time of the pandemic, and we are being invited to see everything in a new light. Not only our own experience of trying to survive, mourning those who have died, praying for those who are sick, but also beyond that, to see what is happening in the world and how our lives will change now and after the pandemic. Education will change now and in the future. Many things we have been used to will no longer come back. And that is why I find the theme very appropriate, to see all things new in Christ. We are invited to let go of all our biases, our past certainties, and just live in the present moment, embrace what is new, and move forward together. So this is the broad context we find ourselves in. And still, it's not done. There's one more major area that I need to tell you about, and that is the direction in the Philippine province of the Jesuits. Locally, the Jesuits have decided that for the next 3 years, we would like to focus on 5 priority areas, 5 thrusts in what we are calling a revised province plan. In a way, 5 loaves. It's like offering our 5 loaves to the Lord so that the Lord can work His miracles. So 5 areas of focus, of priority that we feel are very important for all of us to collaborate on. First of all, and I will go through this quickly, you see a slide of the 5 directions. First of all, to foster Jesuit integrity and accountability. It says Jesuit, but it's not only for us Jesuits. It's for all of us, Jesuits and our lay mission partners. In a world where there are so many leaders that do not inspire us, that sometimes even provide us with bad examples, we are invited to foster integrity, transparency, accountability in our mission. This is the foundation. So, throughout the year, even the next few years, we would like to focus on that in our formation programs for both the Jesuits and our lay partners. And that includes you. An invitation to examine our lives, whether we are being good examples for our youth, whether we are building a world that we can proudly leave to them when it is their time. Second, to feed the hungry, especially children, and to create sustainable livelihoods. As you can imagine, this is an offshoot of the pandemic. Many people are hungry. Maybe that's why there's also higher incidence of crime. Many people have lost their jobs, so there is no stable income. What can we do to help, to alleviate this situation? And we can all think of examples by which we can help in this direction. Third, to summon our youth to engage citizenship. The elections are coming next year. We want to make sure our young people, including our young alumni who are already eligible to vote, will go out and register and be aware of what's happening in our country so that we can make good choices when the elections come around next year. Fourth, to build faith-based hope and resiliency. It's easy to lose hope, to be in despair, given everything happening around us. And yet as Christians, we hold on to the graces of the resurrection, the victory won for us by Jesus Christ. And we want to nurture that hope and that spirit of resiliency, especially in our young people, so that we can prepare them for a better future. Finally, a theme that has been there for quite a while already, to cultivate personal and institutional ecological conversion. Many of our environmental practices were set aside during the pandemic because of the urgency, and we needed to do things quickly and conveniently. So we started using so much plastic again. And then now we're generating so much medical waste. No? And this cannot go on. We have to take care of our environment. We have to do what we can to limit our carbon emissions, and combat climate change, etc. So in a nutshell, you have these 5 thrusts, 5 areas that the Philippine Jesuits would like to focus on this year and in the coming years. To give you a few examples of how we can already put this into practice, I can share with you things that are happening here at Xavier School. Do you know that we have our own community pantry? That is such a hopeful development. No? One young lady started it in Maginhawa Street. Now there are thousands of community pantries around the country. Our very own teachers started one here in school to serve our security and agency personnel, our janitors, to give them better food, better nutrition on a day-to-day basis. So we have a classroom on the ground floor of the junior high school building where we have been receiving donations for more than 1 month now. And we have even expanded to serving the staff of Mary the Queen Parish and ICA. They are also welcome to come and take what they need for the day. That's the community pantry, which you are very welcome to support. Another effort at helping to feed the hungry, to provide livelihood, is our partnership with Mayani. You may have heard of them. They work with the Department of Tourism to link buyers with farmers from the north who are producing so much fruits and vegetables but unable to get them to the right markets here in the NCR. So twice a month there is what they call the Grand Baksakan, when vegetables are available at very cheap prices. We have offered them the use of our EED gym, our Early Education Department gym. That is where all the vegetables land and where they do sorting and packing and then delivery to the pickup points elsewhere in the metropolis. So a good way to use our space that also contributes to the livelihood of so many Filipino farmers. That's Mayani. And these are examples of helping to feed the hungry and provide livelihoods. How do we foster hope and resiliency? Well, many of us have started already getting vaccinated, and Xavier School would like to support that effort, to get as many people vaccinated as soon as possible. And so our high school gym is being used by a third party, MedGrocer, so that the vaccines ordered by the private sector can be administered here. So those of you who belong to those groups, you just might be going to Xavier School to get your vaccines. Engage citizenship, one of the 5 trusts. We are already gathering the senior high school units of the Jesuit schools around the country to talk about how we can raise awareness about the national situation and the importance of next year's elections. We will roll out a campaign to get our young alumni registered, even our young faculty, so that they can participate in the political process next year. And that is just one step. More importantly, we need to reflect together on the state of our nation and what we can all do to make things better. I know that we are politically divided. We all have our beliefs, our opinions, but we need to move beyond that, to respectfully listen to each other, dialogue with each other, understand each other. And in the end, even if we disagree and still make different political choices, we would have at least achieved a better understanding of each one, of where we are coming from, and what our priorities are in terms of governance and national development. Moving now to more specific things that will affect our life as a school this current school year. We are entering a second year of Excel 2.0. Of course, this means that we will improve on what we were doing last year. And you will hear more about that today as this orientation proceeds. But I can share with you some specific developments that might excite you. Even as we start the school year online, we are thinking about hybrid learning. Isn't it very good news that there are now vaccines for teenagers, for those aged 12 and above? That means that perhaps within the school year, the government will allow in-person classes again. So, since January, our teams in school have been trying to visualize that. What will it look like when students can return to school? We know that maybe they still have to wear their masks, observe distancing, observe all these protocols. So we're planning that very, very carefully. We cannot have everybody back all at the same time. Some will be in school, some will remain at home. I can assure you that in the first phase, you will have a choice. We will not force you to come to school, even if the government allows it, if you're not yet comfortable doing that. But we will endeavor to do it as soon as we can, as much as possible. And here, Xavier School New Valley has led the way. I can share with you that last school year, in January to March, Laguna was already on MGCQ. So they had more possibilities. Those aged 15 and up were allowed to go out. So after securing the necessary permissions, we launched first a learning hub. We identified students who were having a very hard time staying at home, keeping up with Excel, with online classes. To make the long story short, where the home environment was not ideal, especially for many of our full scholars, the Zuluaga scholars in the high school. So we brought them to school. The high school canteen became their learning hub. It was still the same, it was still Excel, but they had more space. They could use the school's internet. So that went on for about 2 months or more. And we're very happy to be able to do that. In March, for the year-end activities of grade 10 and grade 12, the recollections, we were able to offer it in school. Something like a whole day and a half, where a group of students, maybe about 40 of them, were in school, while the rest were following online. So there was a camera online following all the activities, streaming it to those who were at home, but the activities were also taking place in person in school. So New Valley has led the way for us in this area. So with that experience, we will build and we will design it so that the more we can do that, the more we can address the mental health concerns of our teenage learners. It's very important, as we all know. This is the age when they need to be with their friends, and yet we have kept them at home for more than 1 year already. So the more we're able to do that, starting with formation activities, the more we will be able to give a better experience to our students. Another development is for our varsity athletes. I'd just like to let you know that in both campuses, we have been trying to continue with the training of our athletes, even if it's all done online. And because of that, we continue to engage all our outside coaches. So this is just a heads up to all the athletes and the families that you will be invited to contribute to a fund so that this program can continue, so that the coaches can continue being available to your particular group. Finally, something to look forward to in the next school year is a development at Xavier School New Valley. We are going to offer a new track in senior high school in the New Valley campus. This has already been approved in principle by our Board of Trustees. And that is a technical vocational track in senior high school. The target market is still graduates of public schools. So as you know, we have graduates of public elementary schools who are at Xavier School New Valley for high school, junior and senior high, but they're all in the academic track. Now we will offer senior high track after all our years of experience running ERDA Tech. The beauty of this model is that because of our location in New Valley, we have partners who can provide the technical training. There is Dual Tech, there is Anihan, there is Toyota Motors Philippines. We are now in negotiations with them so that we do the academic training at Xavier, and then we send them the students for 1 semester to get their technical training. So in this way, the investment in capital and in human resources will not be so major. So this is yet another scholarship program to help achieve the goal of providing greater access to safer quality education at our New Valley campus. So that is certainly something to look forward to. So, my dear parents, welcome to Excel 2.0 with your collaboration. And I thank you really for all your support in this past year, your cooperation, your patience. Continuing in this spirit, I'm sure that this will be a very exciting and very meaningful school year for all of us. Thank you very much.
Let us now welcome our school president, Father Ari B.
Hello, good afternoon to everyone. So obviously that was a pre-recorded video, something new to do during the pandemic, during online sessions. It's the same presentation I'm making at all the orientations this week, but I also wanted to be present so I can meet your group in particular, grades 2 to 4. Welcome you all back to a new school year, and a special shout out especially to the transferees, those who are joining us from other schools. I've been following the chat box. There's a little discussion going on there about vaccines for children, and that's something I wanted to mention also in this afterword, no? That as we prepare for hybrid learning, as we try to visualize and design that, we're getting this good news that more and more vaccines have been approved for younger people. First, Pfizer and Moderna for teenagers. And just over the weekend, the news that in China, Sinovac is already being used even for 3-year-olds and up. No? So I think it's really just a matter of time before your sons will be at least safe enough to go outdoors, still observing protocols, of course, and therefore able to go to school. But as I said in the video, in the first phase, this will be an option for you. It will not be required until we are confident through the government, through all the scientific data, that it's safe for all of us to go back to big school. So for the rest of the orientation, you will receive information on how we have tried to respond to all your feedback in the past year, the first year of Excel. And I hope that with all the improvements that the grade school has designed for a better learning experience this school year, hope that this will be a truly meaningful and engaged school year for all of us. We value very much our engagement with you, dear parents. And if you noticed, I talk very much about the bigger Savior community, because while it's understandable that you're focused on your own year levels, your own cluster, we really belong to a much bigger community in Savior School, in the Society of Jesus, the church, and the nation. So it's important to keep this context in mind. So finally, I see many of the boys joining you for this orientation. Hello to all of you boys. I miss seeing you in school, but hopefully it won't be long before you're able to get out and come to school. So thank you very much. Welcome, and God bless all of you.
Thank you very much, Father Ari. At this point, I would like to invite Mrs. Jane Cacacho, our grade school principal, to tell us more about what is in store for everyone for this school year.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to a new school year. Let me begin by thanking all of you for the many helpful feedback that you have given us throughout the school year. So this afternoon, let me begin by sharing with all of you what you said in our year-end survey. Okay, so these are what you said about the structure of Excel last year. You said that the school day was generally okay, but you were okay with making it longer. You said also that the routines that we have implemented were very helpful, but at the same time, many among you noticed that there were some students who were getting away with not following the routines or not following the practices that we have put in place. Sorry, let me do that again. Okay, most of you, majority were happy with Zoom, Seesaw, and the other apps that we required for last school year. Regarding flexibility, you appreciated that we were not very strict with that we were not very strict with the attendance, and that we did not consider as offense those who were late. And then you also found our grading system, the simplified one from 7 mark to just 3 marks, to be helpful. But at the same time, some of you did mention that it was too generous. You found very helpful the encounters in the specialist block and the presence of the SA, or what we who will call now the teacher companions. And you also found very helpful the retakes of our summative assessments. Because we continued with our practice of no awards, you saw this as lessening the pressure, no, on your children. Now, what did you say about our offering? You appreciated the spiritual activities. Many among you were surprised that we were able to hold masses, some other activities, spiritual activities, despite the online setting. You were quite satisfied with the outreach activities and the guidance services made available to your sons. You agreed that the guidance counselor was able to build rapport with your son despite the distance, or despite just the online interaction. You found the interactions among the children quite substantial. In terms of safety and security, you were appreciative of the attention given by the teachers to preserve the safety and security of your children. So by following Zoom protocols, by making sure that we only use official Savior websites for uploading of requirements and all those. So you also recognize that our teachers were very careful not to use their own personal accounts to share pictures of your sons and whatever was transpiring inside the classrooms. You liked the use of the parent email, found it convenient. In terms of collaboration and support, while you found the specialist block helpful, many among you did say that scheduling needs improvement, especially for boys who are being invited by different teachers. There's only one body, 2 to 3 invitations. Indeed, that's a very difficult situation to find oneself in. You found the presence of the second teacher inside the classroom helpful, especially when your son had a question about technology. Okay. Majority found the Friday emails very helpful. Okay, some of you requested if you could get it earlier. Unfortunately, given the internal quality assurance that we have to make sure the emails you'll get are error-free, we really need the time to check and double-check those emails. So releasing them before Friday afternoon will be very difficult. While you found them helpful, there was also this request whether or not the students can already be taught how to read those emails so that maybe the parents can do less in terms of preparing all the materials needed for the succeeding week. And then as the boys are getting older, to rely on them more and more to get ready with their own materials. You appreciated the open communication between the home and the school. You noticed that we shortened the school day, but it was all right, and you felt that it was just right that literacy and numeracy were given focus. However, there was also a lot of clamor for increasing the number of periods in Chinese, Filipino, social studies, and actually even science for 2, 3, and 4. Okay. You appreciated that some of the subjects were not graded anymore because these subjects were seen as breathers. No? They're there, they're very important, but it was also a time for your son to relax. Not to let go, but just not to be as pressured as if they were in the academic subjects. You found the activities that needed to be done asynchronously helpful in terms of enriching the subject matter and in terms of providing additional activities that your son can do during his downtime. You felt that the integration of values was enough, was very helpful, was good, and at the same time, that the inclusion of current events or real life situations into the lessons very interesting for the students. You also said that your son enjoys school, no? And this was the answer for strongly agreed and agreed was really way above all the other indicators. And then you did feel that despite the online setting, the shorter school day, that your son's academic growth did not suffer significantly. Okay, this next line is in italics because while majority still agreed and strongly agreed with the statement that your son was able to form friendships, the number of answers under uncertain was higher than usual, okay, than the earlier entries. So I just like to point that out. And because we acknowledge your response, then we will try to do something about it this coming school year. You agreed that your son still continued to grow in faith and love for God. You also said that your son is not stressed because of school. And again, because this is in italics, it means that the number of parents who answered uncertain in grades 2, 3, and 4 is slightly higher than in the other numbers earlier. Okay, we're happy to note that you perceive your son to know how to ask for help when he needs it. You have observed your son to be more responsible and self-reliant, and you did acknowledge that you were crucial in helping him become more independent, okay, by not coaching unnecessarily and by allowing your son to make mistakes. We're happy to note that too. Now, many are uncertain as regards these two items. Okay, number one is the importance of the role of the learning manager. Okay, as you know, the learning manager is the adult, the responsible adult beside your son as he does his synchronous classes. Okay, so the spread of answers from this strongly disagree to strongly agree, it was quite divided, no? So it means that almost half agreed with it and almost half did not, and many were uncertain. Now, to me, this is a good answer because it means that not majority, but a substantial number of parents could feel that their children are independent enough to navigate the Excel class even without an adult beside him. So that's good, no? That speaks very well of our students. So my dear Xaverians, congratulations, especially to the parents who answered that they don't feel it's that important. Okay, there was a question in the chat box a while ago whether or not we fielded a survey about Father Ari's statement a while ago about letting your child go to school. And the answer is, once again, so the choices regarding your willingness to allow your son to report to school if face-to-face is allowed by the government and the health agencies, plus number two, if it's still optional, meaning we're not requiring it, okay? And the highest answer from in that question was uncertain. So most of our parents are uncertain. But those who are not uncertain, those who have an opinion about it, are also divided. Okay? They're divided from strongly disagree all the way to strongly agree. Okay, so really, there's no one answer yet. So the answer is, yes, we fielded a survey, but no, there is no one definitive answer. It seems that each family is either not sure yet or is quite or would have a different take on the matter? Okay. Now, as I said, I'm very thankful for all those responses because we considered them as we were planning for Excel 2.0, which we all believe is a better version of Excel last year. Okay, but let me just tell you that while the default is to consider the majority, sometimes considering the majority is not enough. We have to also consider majority vis-a-vis what is feasible given the resources, no, of the school and the physical, logistical capabilities of our teachers and staff. Let me now share with you some changes for next school year. Because you said also that we are still okay with lengthening the school day, we have added 30 minutes to each day next year. Okay, so last school year, batch 1 was from 7:30 to 11. We're now extending it all the way to 11:30. For batch 2, there are 2 changes. No? The first change is adding a 30-minute period there. But the second change is delaying the beginning of class from 8:30 to 9 o'clock. So that means a 1.5-hour delay. Why is that? Okay, there's a very important reason for that, no? Because we added the number of subjects, not number of subjects, the number of periods, because we lengthened the school day. Okay, we need more teachers to teach, right? However, we don't have enough teachers if we are only moving within a certain number of periods. Okay, so we needed to lengthen the school day from the point of view of a teacher. So let me explain that a little bit more. From a student's perspective who belongs to batch 1, his school day is from 7:30 to 11:30. And for batch 2, 9 to 1, right? But for a teacher who is teaching, the school day, excluding the non-teaching hours, is from 7:30 to 1 o'clock. Okay? He cannot be limited by just teaching in one batch, because if we do that, we will not have enough teachers for the lengthened school day. So even if we had wanted to keep the beginning of the second batch to 8:30, it's logistically impossible. Thus, the 9 o'clock. So we pray for your understanding. Now, having said this, all right, we also got a number of requests to move their children from batch 2 to batch 1. Okay? We would like, and most of you cited that you're a working parent, and the 7:30 to 11:30 works better for you. Okay? Because you'd like to be the learning manager of your child. We would like, as much as possible, to grant all such requests. However, please note that if we do that, the class size of the AM and batch 1 and batch 2 will be lopsided. Our batch 1 class size will be at around 29 to 30, whereas the batch 2 9 AM class will be at 25, thereabouts. Okay, so I now invite you to discern. There is something good in both the schedules. Okay, you can start early and be with your child as the learning manager in a class that has more students, or you can be with your child not till the last subject, but the class size to which your son will belong will have fewer students. Okay? Now, I understand that some of you would still rather belong to the AM batch. But after listening to me right now, those in the earlier batches might change their mind and request to belong to a PM class, not to a PM, to a batch 2 class. We are willing to accommodate requests to move children from batch 1 to batch 2. Okay? Note also that we have gotten many requests already, but we are still discussing thoroughly the advantages of granting those requests, precisely because of what I described, no, in terms of class size. Okay? Please note, and later on I'll talk more about it, that there will be no teacher companion anymore in grades 3 and 4. So even with a bigger class size of 29 to 30, there will only be one teacher inside the classroom. So there is still value in keeping the class size small. Okay? So may I request those who submitted a request to rethink, and if you want to take back your request for a transfer, please do so. For those in batch 1 who would rather have his child join a smaller class size, there is value in requesting for a transfer to a batch 2 schedule. Okay? No pressure, but we leave it to you to choose between good and good, or maybe good and better depending on what you value more. Okay? So let me continue. For the schedule, we lengthened the school day. What for? It's because we gave it to the following. So based on your request, we gave it to CLE. We added additional periods in CLE, Filipino, Chinese, Social Studies, Science, Computer, and PE. Note, computer is for grades 3 and 4. Okay? We felt that it was very important to put in that period, because last year what we discovered was that there were some very basic processes that all teachers assumed someone else taught because it was so basic. And it turns out no one taught the students this. And this is as simple as renaming, saving, how to rename a file, put into a folder, etc. So we will put back a computer class so that we can teach those basic skills to our children. Okay, so that's where those periods went. This is how our schedule looks like. And this is in the primer. Okay, the blue highlighted boxes refer to our batch 1. So obviously, the pink highlighted boxes would be batch 2. Some highlights, okay, I explained already the delay of an additional 30 minutes for batch 2. Okay, and then I'd also like to point out that there's that extra box on a Friday afternoon. Okay, so the dismissal time will be slightly longer on a Friday. Okay, because we felt that in the previous slide, I gave you all those additional subjects, right? So we felt that all of them were equally important and we could not remove anyone. And it ended up where we needed an extra 30-minute period. So this goes on to that part. So if there's still just one recess. Okay, there's still just one health break. Uh, for batch 2 though, because of the late lunch that your children will enjoy, please make sure he takes a heavy breakfast. Okay? And for batch 1, the health break is 30 minutes long. So maybe the snack that you prepare during the health break should also be substantial enough to tide him through 1.5 to 2 hours more prior to him getting lunch. Okay, so that's our schedule. Let me now go to our grades and assessments. Um, okay, we are very thankful for your honesty in telling us that you found our grading system a bit too generous. Okay, and we must agree with you, no? Um, Let me begin by saying last school year, with each summative assessment, we were already very compassionate by allowing all students to have 2 retakes. So it means that if you take the assessment as scheduled, you get 1 IE, then teacher pulls you out, invites you to a specialist block. After the review, then you take the first makeup, retake. And then if you still get an IE there, there's still another chance for some more review. And then you get a third chance to take that test with the same coverage. Okay? Um, we felt that after a thorough review and evaluation, and after seeing what happened in the classes, we felt that the 2 retakes might be too much. Okay? But we still acknowledge that our boys take will need different sets of time, different durations of time to get to where we want them to be at the end of a lesson. Okay? So given this, we have reduced the number of retakes to just 1. Note, even if we reduced it to 1, that is still a retake that is accompanied by a review. Okay? We also noticed that there are some students who after having been invited for a review in the specialist block, do not attend the review. Okay? And what happened was the teacher has to reschedule the review again to get the boy ready for the retake. That really took a toll on our teachers, who many of them were not able to do more important things because their time was wasted waiting, just waiting. So for this school year, okay, if a student does not attend the review class, okay, does not accept the invitation to the specialist block, that's okay. Okay, we will interpret it as you'd rather study on your own and you don't need that extra encounter from the teacher, which means that the retake schedule remains as is, and you decide to forego the review class that you could have gotten. Okay? No, there will be no offense. We won't take it against you. We will respect your decision and your choice that maybe you'd really rather study on your own. Okay? So that's very important, because if you miss it, there is no rescheduling of a review class. Okay? In consideration of the very tight schedules already of our teachers. So that's one change. Okay? The other change is that last year we saw that at the end of a trimester, when the report cards are about to come out and a teacher notices that a boy still has deficiencies, before he or she inputs and codes the grades, more notifications are sent to the parents. Okay? So again, compassion already at the first stage, compassion again on the second stage. And then at the end of the school year, when we finally deliberate, those who get a final grade of IE are still given a chance to take remedial classes. Okay? And if they comply with the requirements of the remedial classes, we don't require SAA or summer classes anymore. So compassion takes place at every step of the grading procedure. Okay, so and we feel that that's too much. So one way, but note, may I just tell you that we do not regret doing that, no? Because last year we did not know how the school year would go. It was everybody's first time and would rather err on the side of compassion rather than on strictness. Okay, so we were okay. But after 1 year of experience, we now know better and we should learn from our experience. Okay, so the first way of making things stricter is just to lessen to one retake. Before I go to the second stricter procedure, let me just tell you of another change in terms of grades. And this is the WD. Okay? WD is our grade that means with distinction. Last school year, it was interpreted as a mark that shows that the student's answer, performance, product was really exemplary. Okay? Way beyond what we expected, what the teacher expected. Okay? Now, however, with that interpretation of WD, it resulted in a range of P marks, passing marks, that did not distinguish someone who barely passed and someone who did better than average. Okay? So we would like now for this school year to place the distinction there by expanding the range or the interpretation of what WD means. So for Excel 2.0, WD stands for exemplary. What we did not expect, it was really very, very good, but it will include product performances that are better than average. So that P stands for good, okay, sufficient, okay, very clear evidence that someone got it, but it's just like the rest. It's not really better than everyone else, or it's not really a lot better than what the teacher expected. So it's what the teacher expected, she got it from the answer of the student, then that's a P. Okay? So that's the second difference. A while ago, I said that we will be stricter by giving only one chance for a retake. And then all compassion for the summative assessment will be given. So a boy who gets an IE still gets one chance to make up for it. And if you don't meet an initial deadline, you still get an extension for it. So all those love, all that compassion, all that consideration will be given in each assessment. Can you imagine how many those are? If there are 5 or 6 assessments in a subject, so that's 5 or 6 multiplied by the number of subjects where assessments are graded. However, at the end of the trimester, okay, after the deadlines for the assessments, each individual assessment has been set and deadlines extended for each assessment, there will be no more extension after that. If this means someone will get an IE on the report card for a particular trimester, then this boy will get an IE. And at the end of the school year, after our deliberation, a student who fails or who gets IE in 2 trimesters or more will not be invited to any remedial classes anymore, but instead will be required to take SAA. Note that if your child gets an IE in 2 trimesters, that means with all the compassion, consideration given in the summative assessments, he still was not able to show evidence of understanding for around 66% of the subject matter for the year. And that is quite alarming. We feel that he might not be ready for the succeeding school year. Given this, we have made things stricter to ensure that our boys are ready at the end of the school year to be promoted to the succeeding grade level. More or less, we also noticed that with that overflowing compassion and consideration, the sense of urgency among our students decreased substantially. Okay? There was always that thought that, oh, anyway, my teacher will not fail me. I have so many chances that my teacher will wait for me. Okay? And that also was not healthy. And we did see abuse in some cases. No? So, to make sure that we continue to develop a sense of responsibility and to ensure readiness, all considerations will only be given in the summative assessment. After that, no more. Okay. All right. However, even as we are stricter, please remember that we do have the following academic support still in place, right? So again, the specialist block. So may I just say, please do not coach your children too much, because if you do, the teacher might miss a wrong answer from your son, which would have warranted an invitation to the specialist block. An invitation to the specialist block is not a punishment. It's a privilege. It's a free service that our teachers are willing to give you. So please do have your sons take advantage of this. The Friday emails are still there. I label this as an academic support because you are not at the mercy of what is shown to you during the synchronous periods. Okay? Even before classes have started for the week, you already have all slides, all links to YouTube videos or whatever with you. Okay? So, just in case your son is disconnected during a synchronous class, in case classes are suspended for some unexpected reason, okay, learning does not have to stop. Teaching may have changed, okay, because it's not the teacher in front of the screen, but learning can certainly continue because you have all the materials with you. Rest assured, though, that if it's a difficult subject matter, but it was not taught because of a class suspension, the teacher will not assume that your son will learn it by himself. Okay? We will take steps to ensure that understanding will happen. Okay? Now, should you need our teachers for coordination, for inquiry, there will still be our PTCs. Okay? Communication will be most efficient through the emails. Please use your Savior issued email. And we, our teachers, might request for additional conferences with you, or you may request for such conferences as long as it's not ambush. Okay? Because our teachers do have specific tasks to do at certain points during the day. Asynchronous activities are also a form of academic support. And let me just tell you that there are 3 types of asynchronous activities, right? Some might be activities that a child starts inside the synchronous period, but because he did not finish, he will finish it asynchronously. And the deadline is still later on after the day, which means that he does it on his own time. So that's one type. Now, the other type would be the activities that we put on the Friday email. Okay, if it's there, please nuance between those that are required and those that are not required. Okay? All of them will be helpful. We will never give you things, activities that will be detrimental to the psychological, emotional, mental health of your child. However, um, they're not created equal. There are some that are required because for the subjects, it will really be needed. Example, let's say in social studies, they have a particular lesson and the teacher wanted to start the class with a news clip. Okay? But the news clip is around 5 minutes long. Now, that 5 minutes could be used more wisely if if it's going to be used for discussion, clarifying misconceptions. Because the watching of the clip can happen elsewhere at other times outside school hours. So, the teacher under asynchronous activity might require the viewing of a particular clip, and the discussion of the clip will be crucial to the appreciation and understanding of a lesson. That is considered a required asynchronous activity. Okay. However, there are also some asynchronous activities that are not required. For example, I have received a number of emails about why is PE requiring so many videos from our child. Okay, take note, PE does not require the video. Okay, PE has a number of videos that or links found in the under asynchronous activity, because even if PE meets only once in so many weeks, okay, we'd like your child to exercise every day. Okay, so those are there for him to watch daily, to follow daily, not to get a grade, but for fitness, for his health. Okay. However, sometimes a teacher might say, okay, because the way you do this activity will have an impact on its effectiveness. Okay, let's say you do jumping jacks wrong. Then you're not maximizing that activity. So if you'd like, you can take a video of yourself doing the jumping jacks, and then I will give you comments and feedback so that you can improve your jumping jacks. Okay? Now, that's an example of optional. You want to submit it? Good. You don't want to submit it? It's all right. Okay? You lose the chance to get feedback from the teacher. It's not an offense. There are no deductions. PE has no grade at all. And the teacher will not call you out for not submitting a video. Okay? So please do not stress yourself out. And don't feel guilty also about not letting your son do optional activities. Okay, let me continue. We also have non-academic support. So you must have gotten an invitation from the guidance counselor to have your son attend a routine interview. I would believe that some of you were there with your child as the interview was taking place. Okay? Counseling sessions were conducted or will be conducted as needed. During health break, we have the VGO or the Virtual Guidance Office. What is good about the Virtual Guidance Office is that when they enter this room, Zoom room, they don't only meet their classmates. They could meet their batch mates. Okay? Now, if they had been resectioned and would like to keep in touch with their former classmates, the VGO is a good place for that. Okay? We try to design our CareSo modules to be as relevant, as helpful as possible. For ODS, they have something similar to the VGO, and that's the online corridor. So that's another option for your child. No? If during the break, he'd rather talk with his schoolmates, then he can log in to the online corridor also. Note that for this year, we will be a little stricter in terms of monitoring punctuality and attendance. No? On top of that, we will also be taking stricter note of uniform, haircut, boys who are habitually turning their videos off, etc. Okay? Not because we'd like to sanction them, but because we'd like to be able to tell you about the patterns. Okay? So we will have a conversation with you about those. Note that for grades 2 and up, we are bringing back the green slip. Okay? We are bringing back the green slip, but don't worry, a green slip will only be issued after sufficient reminders have been given. Now, I'm sure you will agree with me that if a certain undesirable behavior persists despite a number of warnings, then alarm bells should ring. Okay? If we just let it go, then we will not be helping the child in the long run. This is the reason why we want to bring back the green slip to keep our children on their toes so that they will take warnings seriously and that they know that teacher means business when teacher gives an instruction or reprimands them or gives a reminder about how behavior should be. Okay. For grade 2, we are retaining the presence of a second teacher inside the classroom. Okay? However, in 3 and 4, we will not assign a teacher companion anymore, but rather, we have required all of you to bring your iPad to the school so that we can install the MDM or the mobile device management software. There will be someone in a while who will discuss what the MDM is for. But I would just like to say, so I will not tell you what the MDM can do, okay? But I will tell you what the MDM cannot do, all right? So while it will allow the administrator to see the apps in your device, if the MDM is installed, we cannot open that for you. Okay, so if you, for example, when you bring home your device after the MDM has been installed and you put back all the games you previously had, all the pictures you previously had, okay, we will see that you brought back a folder on pictures, a folder on the games. We can see the game icons, okay? We will see everything that it's not the school who plays there, but we cannot do anything with them. So we cannot steal them. We cannot take a peek at them. So your privacy is still assured. So if that's the concern, why you are hesitating to bring your iPad to school for the installation, please don't be worried. Also, we have very, very strict sanctions for our own people should any breach of data be incurred. Okay, you let us know. We will conduct a full-blown investigation because we take your safety and privacy very seriously. Okay. All right. So these are the devices. I will not belabor the point why we are requiring an iPad. Starting grade 3, we already discussed that through various FAQs and in different meetings earlier. But this is just, again, this is in the primer. So you may let your son use more than one device, okay? But this is what you have to remember. When a teacher gives an instruction about a certain app that will be used, the teacher will assume that what the students have is an iPad. So if she says, look for the button on the upper right part of the screen, then it's because the teacher is using an iPad too. And that's the reason why the instruction is that specific. Now, there are some apps, not very many, but there are some without web-based, what do you call it, counterparts, okay? So while most might work on your laptop, desktop, there might be some that won't, okay? And when that happens, then your son loses the chance to do the activity that the teacher has prepared. Hopefully, it's not graded, okay? So that the only thing that your son loses is the chance for extra practice or a chance for enrichment, okay? I started by thanking you for your feedback. Now, I'd like to also thank the majority who served as the learning manager of your child. Now, even if you were not the learning manager of your son, at this point, I would just like to share with you some tips for healthy and helpful parenting so that you don't end up being a lawnmower parent who takes out all the obstacles for the child, which is detrimental in the long run, or who becomes a helicopter parent who does almost everything and controls everything that concerns the life of his child. Okay? So, I propose 4 E's. The first E is to equip. As a parent, we expect you to equip your son with what? With a space at home for learning. Make sure it's conducive. With a device that will make him confident that he is part of the class and that he knows what to do. Of course, the connection, the books and supplies, which includes probably downloading the Friday email and printing what needs to be printed prior to the period where that thing is needed, no? The meals, the healthy snacks, the substantial breakfast that I was talking about earlier. And then examine. What do you have to examine? You also have to pay close attention to the behavior of your child. It could be that he's beside you and that you notice it. If he's not paying attention, please do help us. Now, if you're not the learning manager, then how do you pay attention to behavior? By making sure that you check the email regularly, because feedback about behavior would certainly be emailed to you. Okay? Please do make sure that you are kept abreast of assessment deadlines, assessment schedules, deadlines for submission, the homework for the day, so that you can prompt your child, give the necessary reminders so that he does what he needs to do. These are things that we cannot do for them, no? And then we enable. What does that mean? We give enough support and guidance so that as a student, a child will feel that I can be a good student. I am able to be a good student. I can do it. Okay? So the support here and guidance does not mean you will reteach what the teacher taught. No? It could mean that you will help your child have good study habits. Okay? Studying longer is not always wiser, right? So all those things, it might be in providing him additional resources or teaching him how to be resourceful. And then the last E is empower. Let's promote a growth mindset where your child will not be scared of making mistakes, where your child will not feel, oh, I'm poor at math. I was born poor at math. It's in the genes. No, but that he'll be willing to try with, and we might need to provide opportunities. Okay, and it's also important for us to let go, not to control everything. And that could include giving support during exams, especially graded exams. No, the reason I say this is because the words you see on the screen right now do not just suggest actions that you will do or things that you have to do in order to have a healthy parenting relationship with your child. But more than that, we're talking about virtues. Okay? When you equip your child and make sure he's ready before 7:30, okay? Then we're also teaching the value of being prepared, of orderliness. Now, if you are not strict with that, then the home and the school might not be fostering the same set of values, which will be very confusing to a child. When you monitor and give reminders about the submission of requirements, when you remind him to do his homework, you're teaching him to be responsible. You are giving importance to the value of diligence. Okay? When you uh, enable your child, you help build determination and resourcefulness. And when you let go and tell him it's okay, we're building confidence. And hopefully, he's also building up integrity. Okay? When the home and the school say different things, your child might have a crisis brewing inside him. Do I follow my mom, who's whispering the answers to me during the test? Or do I follow my teacher, who tells me to ignore the people around me and just to give the answers I myself know? Okay. If we say different things, then your child might end up asking himself, am I a bad boy if I don't write down what my mom said or what my tutor said? Because I want to follow my teacher. So let's not put anyone in that difficult situation. Okay? So my appeal is that we work very, very well together. Let's communicate, coordinate, so that our partnership will be fruitful and very, very meaningful. Thank you very much. And thank you once again for attending our parent orientation.
Next, we would like to call on Mr. Ray B. Aude, the grades 3 and 4 team leader, to discuss other important grade level concerns.
Hello, parents. Good afternoon. I am Mr. Aude, your grades 3 and 4 team leader for this school year. We hope that everyone is safe and well, and we are all looking forward to meeting your sons, albeit online, this coming June 14. We hope that they are as excited as we are to go back to school. At this point, allow me to talk about other essential matters in relating to your son's online distance learning for the first trimester. Let's start first with uniform. It is important for students to feel that formal behavior is expected of them as they go online in their classes. We believe that having the students wear something more formal than their sleepwear or home clothes will get them into the mindset that schooling is serious and that they have to pay attention. In line with this, we will require students to wear a colored shirt and a decent pair of bottoms short, or pants during class hours. To save you from constantly deciding on what your son will wear for the day, we encourage you to already choose from among his clothes those which will serve as his regular Monday to Friday uniform. On his scheduled fitness and recreation day, the proper attire consists of his yellow PE shirt. But if you have not purchased or you don't have your PE shirt, any comfortable round neck shirt partnered with a pair of pants or shorts that are suitable for physical activity. Understanding that sourcing the colored shirt may take some time. We shall start being strict with checking for the required attire only by July 1. For haircut, the barbershop and hair salons are not the safest places these days. Given this time, we will not be particular with hair length, but we encourage you to remind your son to keep his hair clean, properly combed, and presentable for his online classes. For school books and materials needed, although some of the books and supplies that you ordered during enrollment were already delivered, there has been a delay in the delivery of some imported books. The school is targeting to complete all deliveries by June 11, 2021. As regards the instructional materials that your son will need, we encourage you to download them immediately upon receipt of the regular Friday email prior to the actual classes. On gadgets to be used in class. Since your son will be dependent on a gadget for his schooling this year, if he is using a device that is not dedicated solely for schoolwork, we advise you to store all non-school essentials in a folder so as not to be distracting. Unnecessary apps may also be deleted. Regarding Friday memo and weekly schedule, every Friday, you will receive in your Savior parent email a memo that will contain school announcements, the schedule, and the materials needed for the following week. We encourage you to follow the instructions on which to download and print over the weekend so as to have your son ready for his class. This was mentioned already by Mrs. Cacacho, but I would like to reiterate. During the synchronous class, your son should be logged in Zoom the entire period using your parent email account. In case he gets disconnected, he can always use the conference links on the weekly schedule to log back in to the class. Routines on recitations, asking questions, going to the bathroom, doing seat work, and other things will be discussed in the first few days of school. We highly encourage you to help us implement them in your own homes. Some activities are meant to be done asynchronously, meaning outside the class period, at the most convenient time for students. Instructions for this type of activity will be discussed by the teacher. We need your help in making sure that your son complies and completes the required asynchronous activities. The list of asynchronous activities will also be indicated on the weekly schedule. Note that some activities or some of these might be optional for enrichment, in which case doing the activity will certainly benefit your son, but he may opt not to do it. Next is very, very important, communication between home and the school. The excess parent email that we will provide will be considered your official email address for all school communication. This means that circulars and other important announcements will be emailed to that account. Using that email will also help the teachers identify you and as such respond more quickly to your concern. A teacher's directory containing the email addresses of your son's teachers, such as his class advisor, guidance counselor, student supervisor, and other subject teachers, will soon be given to you. Kindly refer to this to inform us of any of your concerns. We encourage a timely and healthy exchange of email messages within working hours from 7:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. Any email received after 4 p.m. will be read on the following day. Please allow 1 to 2 days for the response. All right, we'll go next to the set a learning space at home. Find a conducive area in your house that will serve as your son's permanent learning space, which will be used primarily, if not solely, for his studies. He will need a table, chair, and an electrical outlet for charging his gadgets. Make sure that the learning space is well lighted, well ventilated, and comfortable enough for him to stay as he attends his online classes and accomplishes his schoolwork. School materials should also be within reach to avoid wasting time looking for them when needed. All right, in terms of preparing for Excel 2.0, have a discussion with your son about how the school year will look like. Agree on house rules that you will consistently implement throughout the school year. For example, set on your rule as regards going to the bathroom during synchronous activities. Agree on the schedule when he will need to accomplish the asynchronous activities. Insist on a bedtime that you will enforce rightly or nightly, I mean. These matters, when settled early, can spell the difference between a good and a difficult year. You may also want to assure him of his teacher's support and dedicated time for peer interaction. Develop a growth mindset by emphasizing that it's all right to make a mistake. And what is more important is learning from the mistakes. Given this, please be patient if the learning of routines will not happen quickly. Instead, calmly and consistently enforce the routines. For lessons that are not understood at once, encourage your son to ask questions, to try even what seems difficult, and to keep on trying until he gets the lesson. It is also important to stress the virtues of responsibility, cooperation, independence, and self-discipline. Even as schooling takes place in the home, these virtues have to be practiced faithfully in line with schoolwork. Again, thank you for listening, and we hope to have a good year ahead working together. Luchat Lux.
Thank you very much, Mr. Aude. The next part of the orientation will be about the use of technology in the online classroom.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our quick tech orientation for this school year. I hope that through this session, you'll be able to get an idea of what to expect for the coming year. Most of you will already be familiar with the different apps that we'll be using, since these are more or less the same apps that your sons have used last year. That being said, our goal for today is to provide you with an overview of these apps' main functions and how your sons will most likely be using them in their different subjects. This school year, different apps will be used by the students to assist in their learning and the creation of their projects and performance tasks. Some of these apps include the ones that you see on your screen right now, such as Seesaw, Zoom, Padlet, Quizzes, Kahoot, Mentimeter, Flipgrid, Edpuzzle, Canva, Book Creator, and Apple Clips. We'll be going over them so that you can be more familiar with their functions and what they'll most likely be used for throughout the year. To start off, we will be discussing Seesaw. As you know, Seesaw is the learning management platform being used by students in kinder to grade 4. This app allows students to post their work, respond to activities or assignments given by their teacher, and receive feedback and announcements. This school year, we want to further support student learning by asking you, their parents, to connect your son's classes through the Seesaw Family app. To use this app, please make sure you have downloaded it on your mobile device. Your son's teachers will be providing a link for you to join their classes. Once you open the link, you will be prompted to select your son's name from the list of students registered in the class. You will then be asked to create your own Seesaw account, and if you already have a family account, you may choose to sign in instead. When creating an account, please make sure to use your personal email address since your excess parent email will be used for your son's account. Let's now take a quick look at what Seesaw Family has to offer for you and your son's home learning managers by watching this short video.
How do you how do you use this newfangled technology? We'll show you. First is the Home tab. Up here, in the Home tab, you'll see the most recent work from all your children. Next is the Journals tab. The Journals tab allows you to see all work your child or children have created. Click on your child's name to view their entire journal for a class. You can do way more than just look at this work. Your child's teacher may have enabled likes and or comments. You can click comment, type a comment, or click the microphone to record a voice comment. Students light up when they know you've seen their work. Finally, the Inbox tab. This is where you communicate with your child's teacher. You'll receive class announcements and one-on-one messages. You can type a reply or click the plus button here to attach photos, videos, and more. Don't worry, messaging is always private. Even when you reply to a class announcement, your reply only goes to the teacher.
Take note that this is accessible through your mobile phone, tablet, or computer, so you can check your son's work and progress on whichever device you have available. As parents, we also understand that you are also busy with your work, and receiving multiple notifications about your son's posts throughout the day may not be ideal. That's why we would also like to go over the notification settings for your account. On your account, click the Account Settings button or the gear icon. This will open a window showing your account settings, and when you scroll down, you will see a segment labeled Parent Notifications. Here, you can select where you want to receive notifications and the frequency. You may select to receive alerts in your email, on your device through push notifications, and through SMS if you choose to connect your mobile number to your account. You may also select if you would prefer to receive alerts about all of your son's activity on the app or a summary at the end of the day. You may also choose to switch off notifications by selecting Never. Additionally, you may also toggle the notification setting on your son's student account by going to their profile's account settings and then switching the class notifications on or off. Take note, however, that once you switch off notifications on their account, they will not be alerted when their teachers post new activities, comments, or announcements in their classes. For us, we recommend that you keep the notifications for your son's account on so that they don't have to manually check every now and then for new posts or activity on their Seesaw accounts. Next up, we have Zoom, which is the app we use for holding our classes. At the start of the school year, you will be provided with the Zoom meeting details for your son's section, and this will be the meeting room they will be opening throughout the school year to join their classes. They may open the meeting room simply by clicking the link or manually entering the meeting ID and passcode. Zoom provides a way for teachers and students to communicate with one another through the video and audio functions, which they may toggle on and off. As part of our protocols and common practice, students are expected to keep their Zoom videos on throughout their classes for monitoring and remain on mute to avoid causing disruptions. Zoom also has a chat function which allows students to type messages directed to the class or their teachers. In order to make sure that students are focused on their classes, the Zoom chat is usually set to only allow students to send messages directly to their teacher or to everyone in the meeting. Private messaging their classmates is usually disabled. Students may also get their teacher's attention by using the raise hand button when they need to ask a question or if they would like to share something with the class, such as during recitations. There are also reaction buttons that they may use to give feedback to their teacher or classmates without needing to chat or unmute. Another Zoom feature which your son's teachers may ask them to use is the Annotate tool. This is shown through the pen button. Once students click the button, they will be able to apply annotating marks, shapes, highlights, and text on top of the screen being shared by their teacher. Usually, this is used if the teacher would like the students to show their process, such as when solving problems in math, or when they want students to locate information in text or pictures. Next up, we have Padlet. So Padlet is a digital wall where students can post text, images, videos, and other forms of media to express themselves and share their ideas. Their teachers may ask them to post an answer to a question or even to work collaboratively. Padlet allows students to all work on a single board simultaneously and also allows them and their teacher to react or comment on each other's posts to give feedback. Adding posts to a Padlet wall can be done by tapping the plus sign or by double tapping on the screen. The posts look just like the ones you get online with a title and a body for more text. You can add a link from the web to a website, photo, video, document, song, or just about anything else. Alternatively, you can take a photo or video with the iPad or choose a photo or video from the iPad's camera roll. Because your sons will most likely be using the iPad version of this app, there are a number of gestures that are included to help you navigate through Padlet on a touchscreen. You can tap a post to expand it, pinch to resize, or do a long press and drag to move it. Double tapping can also let you post a new photo or any other media post. It will also allow you to have the option to delete or edit that post. Next up, a good way of testing students' knowledge and how much they learn through their lessons is by using quizzes. So your son's teachers may use this particular app when they want to do a checkup on them and see how much they were able to learn from their lesson. So Quizzes is a quiz app that your son's teacher can ask them to use every now and then, usually at the end of topics or at the beginning of it. Using the app, students will simply enter a game code that their teacher will provide in order to join their class's game. Once they've entered that game code, they then just type in their name depending on what their teacher's instructions are. Usually, this will be their name and their class number, or their section and their class number. Once they've successfully joined the game, they can now answer the different type of questions such as multiple choice questions, true or false, fill in the blanks, and even essays or short response questions. Quizzes gives instant feedback on student answers, so your sons will know immediately if they were able to answer correctly. And each correct response also awards them with points in the game. These points allow their teacher to see how well they did and which topics they may need further discussion on or help with. Another app similar to Quizzes is Kahoot. So Kahoot is an app that allows students to compete in a fun game show type activity. This game can be done during synchronous activities and can be integrated within Zoom itself. So what it does is teachers will create questions for students to answer and they will just start a game. To start the game or to join the game, students will just have to enter first the PIN or the code given to them by their teachers. After they input the code, they will now be able to join a lobby where their other classmates will be waiting. Once the teacher starts the game, a question will be flashed on the teacher's screen and the options will be flashed on the student's screen or device. So what the students will have to do is to select the correct shape or correct option corresponding to their answer. After all questions have been answered, the student with the highest score, of course, wins. Another great way to test student knowledge through a game type feature is Mentimeter. However, instead of just multiple choice questions, Mentimeter is geared more towards open-ended questions and essays as well as surveys. So it's an interaction tool that teachers use in their class to be able to gather insights from them and to be able for them to answer questions freely. Um, Although it is more geared towards the open-ended questions, it also has multiple choice surveys and there's also the word clouds and short response questions. Everything in Mentimeter works in real time, so the teachers and students can immediately see the results. Everything is live, and this allows the teacher to be able to discuss it immediately. For the student to join a Mentimeter presentation or survey, they just have to go to their Mentimeter app or the Menti website. They will then enter the code that their teacher will display on their screen or provide to them. And once they are in, they can begin responding to the posted questions. The teacher can set the questions to go according to the pace of their discussion. So that means it's teacher controlled. Or they can set it to be set to the pace of the students, allowing them to go over all the questions at their own individual pace. Next, moving towards more video-centric or visual-centric applications, as opposed to the written type of applications, Flipgrid is one of those apps that they'll be using. So Flipgrid is a social learning platform that allows students to be able to post a video response to a question or topic presented by their teacher. So once again, a code is used for them to be able to join their class on the app. And once they've joined their class, they will see the topic posted by their teacher and they can start recording and uploading videos of themselves. These videos are typically anywhere from around 1 to 10 minutes long. In addition to being able to record themselves and post a video, they can also add different filters, stickers, or text on top of their videos and even video frames. All of these are built right inside Flipgrid, so there's no need for them to download anything additional for them to be able to use these features. So this allows them to creatively construct and edit their projects beyond the spoken words. So here's a demonstration of how that works. So as you can see from the app, there is already a camera integration, so they can already record their videos straight from Flipgrid. And then from there, they can edit text, customize their fonts, the colors. They can also add stickers or frames to the video. All right. So moving on to another video-based app, we have Edpuzzle. Edpuzzle is an app used to make videos more interactive. So in this case, it's not anymore the students who will be posting the video, but it will be the teacher. And this video is something that they can be given to do asynchronously. However, in Edpuzzle, students will not just watch videos passively, but will actually be able to answer questions that are created by the teachers and integrated into the video itself. So in between segments, there are questions, and these are located through little pins on the timeline for easy navigation. So students know when a question will be coming up, or they can navigate to that question if they need to. So these questions can be anything from multiple choice questions to checklists or even essays. And they also give immediate feedback to students. So that means after the students answer, they can already know if they were able to answer it correctly or if they need to go back and go over some details again. Now, if there is a need for students to go back, there is a rewatch button or rewatch function which students can use to go back on a segment of the video that they may have missed certain information or key details on that are needed to be able to answer the given questions. Aside from students being able to receive immediate feedback on their answers, Edpuzzle also allows their teachers to check in on how well the students did and whether or not they were able to submit their work on time. So on the teacher side, they will be able to view the marks or how many points students were able to gather. That will let the teacher know how well they did and if they understood the lesson well. There's also a timestamp which tells the teacher when the student was able to finish and submit their work on Edpuzzle. This allows the teacher then to be able to figure out if the students need more time to go over the topic and how they can help each one. On to more the visual type of apps. Instead of videos this time, we're looking at images. So Canva is one of those apps that we'll be using. It's a graphic design platform, and it's great for making anything from posters to presentations, social media posts, and a lot more. Students can select from pre-made templates that they can customize through drag and drop elements. So it's as easy as selecting a template, selecting elements that they want to add to their image, and just dragging and dropping it onto the screen. So they can choose to create a visual project from scratch or choose from any of the templates provided in the Canva library. So aside from the templates, they also have access to different fonts, backgrounds, pictures, graphics, even audio. And Another great thing about Canva is that students can actually save their work in different formats such as PDF, as an image or a JPEG, a video, or if there are moving elements in their image, they can save it as a GIF as well. So it's very flexible and it's very easy for students to use to create visually stunning images and files. Next up, we have Book Creator. So Book Creator now merges the text side, the audio side, and even the audio and the visual side of the apps. Book Creator is an ebook creation app. And it does is it allows students to create interactive ebooks. So once they open the ebook app or the Book Creator app, there are templates that they can choose from depending on what size of ebook they want to create or if they want it in landscape or portrait mode. Okay, so it comes with those ready-made templates that they just have to choose from. And there are also instructions in the app itself that will guide them on how they can create their own ebook. In ebook, they can now add different elements to customize their um, book. So they have their different texts, they can customize the font, they can input images from their device or from the internet into the book itself. They can also edit as needed if there's anything they need to move or if there's anything they would like to add to it, they can always go back and edit their book. Okay, another great feature of ebook creator is that there is an audio tool which allows them to record voiceovers and audio narrations on top of their books. So what that does is it allows students to be able to practice their oral skills as much as their written skills. Lastly, we have Clips. So Clips is an app on Apple, and what it does is it allows students to make their own videos. So students can use different camera effects, filters, music, text, and stickers to be able to customize their own videos. It's similar to Flipgrid, however, this is in the device itself and it's not working on an external website like Flipgrid. Okay, so on Clips, they can record their videos using the camera function. And aside from being able to record videos and customize it, they can also add audio narration just like in Book Creator. They can also choose from different templates to be able to customize the look of their video. They can add live titles, stickers, and edit it as to how creative they want their output to be. Lastly, we're going to go over the eSchool Pad. So eSchool Pad is another app that we'll be using this school year, and it's one of the newer ones that we'll be using. So it is a mobile device management system. And for us to get a better understanding of what this app is and how it will be used in your son's different classes throughout the year, let's watch this short video.
Are you ready and excited to journey with your son through Excel this school year? You probably had apprehension that your son might not be able to give his full attention or participation in an online class. You might even be scared that he will get easily distracted or might even be tempted to use his iPad for something else other than his school task. We have heard those concerns and found a way to better help your son to remain on task and learn better during online classes. For this school year, we will be using an MDM platform called eSchoolPad. This will allow us, his teachers, to manage your son's iPad's activities during online classes. What is an MDM? MDM stands for Mobile Device Management. It's a tool that lets an administrator or us, your teachers, to securely and wirelessly configure your son's devices. An MDM can do the following: it can update software and device settings, but most importantly, it can limit the apps to ones that are specified by his teachers. With ESP, teachers can use the scheduler feature to hide unnecessary apps during class hours, thus eliminating distractions and maximizing learning. The app lock feature helps teachers and students to be on the same app at the same time during their online class. This helps the students to be on task by disabling the switching of apps or opening of unnecessary apps or sites. With the use of ESP as a mobile device management tool, students can focus more on their classes as it minimizes mobile distractions. Apps and websites that are not needed for the class can be hidden by the teacher. Students can also receive, in real time, instructions and learning materials from the teacher through the messaging function. The ESP also ensures that the needed applications for the class are installed in the device through the remote installation function. eSchoolPad minimizes distraction and maximizes learning, giving the parents the peace of mind that their son is spending his time in online class productively and efficiently. Through eSchoolPad, parents can keep the mobile devices locked, blocked, and safe for their children's use online.
Right, so that's it for our tech orientation. Thank you so much for joining us and listening in on this short presentation. And I hope that this quick orientation was able to give you a better idea of what to expect this school year in terms of the apps that we'll be using for your son's learning.